But going from this narrow topic that we began with, black money, that granularity, to the broader issue of where the rest of our money goes, to understand all that is a bear. For instance, the 2017 omnibus. Take a look right here. Remember omnibus? In that we just showed you, this is the casserole where everything gets piled into one dish. It's all passed together, especially when maybe you couldn't pass them individually, you do this instead. So this omnibus that was passed last year, we're running on it now, was 708 pages long. How in the world do members read that? Do they read it? How do reporters, so we can tell you what's happening? I talked with Jennifer Scholtes, the budget editor at Politico, who knows this subject line by line, the budget line by line. We talked about her process of tracking down information and what she looks for to find that funny money. Jennifer, first off, how long and complicated are these appropriations bills, and does anyone get to actually read them?
Most of the bills are hundreds or thousands of pages long, and then sometimes they put them all together in an omnibus all at once and throw them in, with changes at the last minute, and then that makes it even more difficult to read it all. But really, in terms of compared to some policy bills, like, for instance, an immigration bill, the spending measures are not as complicated as you would think. They lay out, line by line how much each agency gets, what they get for each office, and then they have a separate spending report that kind of explains what the spending panel's intentions were.
When you're trying to get information about appropriations, and whether it's something like a black money item or more commonly an item that you're thinking, what is this going to? Who is this for? Could this be an earmark, in all but name? How easy is it to get that information?
Some of it's very, very difficult. So we did recently in researching money that goes to university research offices, and there's a lot of interest in that money, and it's difficult because it's spread over several different bills and several different departments, and there's no real collection of all that. I guess that's our job, right, to go through and kind of itemize it. But I would say that it is pretty easy to get answers from the Appropriations Committee if you ask them what things are about. Like, they will go into depth, and some of that stems from the fact that the people who run the spending committees are a little bit geeky, and those members are probably a little bit more studious than the other lawmakers in terms of just wanting to help people understand kind of what's going on. So right now, the administration basically decides where the money is spent, unlike in the era of earmarks, where lawmakers could kind of say, we want the money to go to this specific project in this specific place.
I wonder, on some of these topics that might be a UFO program disguised in this generic blanket or something that is of consequence, how often do you and your colleagues there on that beat of appropriations compare notes and say, does this look fishy to you?
It's definitely something where we do compare notes and look for something that's anomalous, and that's incredibly difficult to, especially like you were explaining in these gigantic bills. There are certainly things that are buried in there that very smart people combed through and nobody ever found them, and they're still secrets, probably, things that have been signed into law for years or decades that flew under our radar and never got attention because this is money for the entire federal government.